Thanks for tuning in to Andrea in the Morning. This is Andrea Raquel, the social entrepreneur and sugar-free coach. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've liked our page on Facebook. That's facebook.com/sugar-free coach, as well as on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter at sugar-free coach. I will follow back and reciprocate. I always do. And on that note, today we're talking about integrity. Integrity. It's actually a very, very old word, even though it first showed up in the English language around the Middle Ages. It's actually got Latin origins. So for a very, very long time, this word has been in existence. Why it's such a difficult thing to attain, I have no idea. But integrity is defined as basically honesty, the state of being whole, entire, undiminished, unimpaired, or in perfect condition, as in a ship's hull. Today we're going to talk about integrity from the standpoint of your community, your business, and your lifestyle, because in a 24-hour day, you're involved in a number of different scenarios and situations. You come in contact with different people from different aspects and perspectives. But integrity doesn't change. The definition doesn't change. How you operate in integrity does not change. How many times have you ever been in a situation where you had to deal with someone and they were not operating with integrity? And you were sort of stuck between a rock and a hard place, or at least you felt like you were. It may have been in a work environment. It may have been in a religious organization. It may have been with a partner or a vendor. It may have been in a dating situation or a marriage situation, or guess what? You could have just been going to the eye doctor or to the gas station. Every time you deal with a human, there's an opportunity to have a situation where there's no integrity, where it's not complete, where it's not whole, where it's not unimpaired. So what I want to talk to you about today is, how do you deal with those situations? You can't do anything about other people. You can't control other people. You can only control yourself. So if you know that you're always going to be in situations where you're going to have to deal with humans, you're always going to come across humans who lack integrity, the only thing that you can really do is to prepare yourself. Prepare yourself to deal with those situations. Prepare yourself to get out of those situations. Prepare yourself to avoid those situations. First of all, the first thing I want you to know is that you are not obligated, ever. You are not obligated to go along with a lie. And that means if someone, is trying to get you caught in their lie, or if someone is lying to you, you don't have to go along with it. From either perspective, it's not good. There are times when someone will look you right in the eye, tell you a lie. You know it's a lie. They know it's a lie. They know that you know it's a lie, but they still want you to swallow it anyway. Guess what? You don't have to. You do not have to be bullied or forced into dealing with someone that you know lacks integrity. Likewise, you don't have to participate in a lie. Sometimes friends, colleagues, coworkers, bosses, leaders will put you on the spot and put you in a situation where they're telling a lie and it involves you. Now it's your integrity at stake. Guess what? You don't have to go along with the lie. The main reason you don't want to go along with a lie is because you don't want to create a bed of thorns that you're going to have to lay in later. You ever heard that saying? You made your bed, now you got to lay in it? Well, if you are dealing with someone, a partner, a mate, a friend, and you're always going along with their lies, guess what? When they get ready to lie to you, you created that monster. You set the scenario, you set the stage where that person felt that it was okay, that they could operate in lying and deception. and have no integrity, and that you were still going to be right there. You were still going to go along with it. So you created that bed of thorns to lie in if you go along with the lie. So don't ever feel forced or obligated to go along with someone who lacks integrity, whether it be against you or whether they're trying to make you the culprit. You do not have to go along with it. The second thing I want you to understand is that you want to choose your battles. Do you fight or do you walk away? You know, if someone's trying to make you the culprit of their dishonesty, do you call them out right then and there on the spot? Embarrass them in public or in front of, you know, the upper higher ups or whatever the case may be? Or do you just cut your losses and walk away? And that's going to be based on every scenario. But I would say that it's based on your comfortability. If it's a situation where you can walk away and feel good about it, walk away. If it's a situation where you feel that you need to stand and fight, you need to expose that person for the sake of others that may be harmed, for the sake of your reputation, or whatever the reason is, probably you don't want to do it out of revenge. But, you know, for the good of all, then you definitely want to expose it. There are different ways to expose it. You know, if you're in the middle of a situation, you don't have to necessarily battle it right then and there. You can walk away, say, I'm not going to take part, and then come back after the fact and deal with it, address it. If you're in a work environment, there are plenty of 800 number hotlines that you can call and expose a situation. The other thing that you have to remember is that you're not losing by walking away. If you're in a situation, you know, you got into a partnership or collaboration or a work environment or a relationship, whatever it is, and you find out that the other person involved is not operating with integrity, they're lying to you about you or trying to get you involved with lies, and you decide that it's best for you to walk away, don't look back, because you're not losing anything. If they lack integrity in the long run, if you stay around, the damages are going to be way worse than if you walk away when you first find out about it. So you can't stay in it because you feel like you're going to miss out on something. What could you possibly be missing out on if the person lacks integrity? The next thing that I want to make sure that we talk about. Earlier, I said that, you know, when you're choosing your battles and you're deciding whether you're going to fight or you're going to walk away, do you expose the person or do you cut your losses? You definitely do not want to do it out of revenge, because if you're operating in revenge, you're wrong. It's just wrong, and it's not going to turn out for the best. You definitely, if you're operating with integrity, you definitely want to do the best thing for all people involved. So you don't want to repay evil for evil. In other words, just because someone lied to you doesn't mean you get back at them by lying to them. It doesn't mean that you try to set them up and catch them in a lie or, you know, in any kind of way participate or engage in their folly. Just don't do it. It just takes too much energy. Whatever mission or vision or path you were on when you were distracted by this person's lies, you need to get back on that path. If you follow them and put your energy into getting back at them or, taking revenge, then they've further gotten the upper hand because now you're off track even further. Not only that, but you've allowed this person to take you outside of your character. If you are a person of integrity and you allow someone who lacks integrity to influence you negatively, well, you know, you've let them win. You've basically, instead of you influencing them, they've influenced you. Take the high road. Pay attention to how you got there. Don't let it rub off on you. Look at it. Lean into the pain and say, okay, wait a minute. How did I get here? Did I see signs early on? Did I vet this person properly? Did I do my research? Was I too eager? Was I looking at the wrong things? Maybe I was focused on what was fancy and glamorous or the money that could be made as opposed to doing the proper research and looking at whether I could trust this person or not. Sometimes we can be so eager and anxious for a thing that we just run into it without even thinking, okay, wait a minute, is this person worthy of my work or of my love or of my volunteering or whatever the thing is? Okay, so we definitely want to learn from it. We want to set standards. And then we want to inspect what we expect. If you're dealing with employees who lie all the time, you give them a very, very short rope to hang themselves with. That means if I ask you to do something, I'm going to check back sooner than I normally would to make sure that you did it. Because if I don't, the time's going to go by, you're going to lie, you're going to say you did it and you really didn't, and then now I'm in trouble. So you have to definitely control what you can control. If you're in an environment, if you're in a situation where you're dealing with someone, you know that they lack integrity, you can't get out of it, well, then you know that you don't set yourself up to depend on that person for certain things. You don't ask them questions that you know they're going to lie about. These are ways that we can do damage control, if you will. You can't control anyone else. You can't stop anyone else from lying. You can't make someone else want to have integrity if they don't have it. These are all things that are internal and that are driven and guided by our internal compass. And clearly, if someone is lacking in integrity, they're not being guided by that same compass. So the last thing that you want to do if you're operating in integrity is to think that you can brainwash someone or that you have more power and control over other humans than you really do. Cut your losses. Community, business, and lifestyle. What does this look like? What does it look like? Obviously, with lifestyle, dating, marriage, your everyday activities, dealing with service professionals throughout the day. Even sometimes you may go in a store and you may have a return or a damaged item, or maybe you had something on hold, or all types of scenarios in retail. And believe it or not, someone standing behind the counter, even though they're getting paid, even though they're representing a company, they will look right at you and tell you something that's completely untrue. Sometimes you know it and sometimes you don't. Personally, I worked in retail for many, many years. So if someone tries to tell me how credit card processing works and they're lying, guess what? I know it right off the bat. So, these are scenarios in lifestyle, clearly in dating and marriage. If you're dating someone or married to someone who lacks integrity, if you're married, I guess you're going to probably seek counseling. If you're dating, take a step back. Maybe taking a step back will make that person realize that you're not going to settle or operate or be in a situation, be in a relationship where there's no integrity. But definitely don't go full steam ahead just thinking that things are going to change and you're going to change a person, because it's not going to happen. In a business environment, it could be on your job. I've heard plenty of stories. As a matter of fact, I think I've had it happen to me a time or two of a boss lying on their employees. It happens. They're human. Business partners, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Vendors, you're expecting a delivery and you needed it today in order to service your client. It doesn't come till next week and they're telling you that it's because of something that you didn't do when you know you did everything. All of these scenarios deal with humans who lack integrity. You may have employees. Every time they come to work late and they always have a lie. They always have a story. Inspect what you expect. That goes for your boss, your business partners, your contractors, your customers, your vendors, your employees. If you have standards, if you have standard operating procedures, if you have rules for your customers, set those guidelines, make sure that they're clearly laid out what the standards are. And then follow up on them. Follow up with your employees. Make sure that when you're dealing with a customer that you're explaining what the rules are. Make sure they have it in writing. Everything that you can do to control the situation. You cannot control the person. In your community, in your neighborhood, clearly in the government, Dealing with your extended family, organizations. We've seen pastors and priests in the news. Clearly, these are scenarios where they lack integrity because the rules of their organization state that they were not to do what they did, and they did it anyway. So these are all scenarios where people are going to lack integrity. Save yourself a lot of heartache. Save yourself a lot of energy. When someone lies to you, it has nothing to do with you. It is because that person has not made a decision that they are going to operate with integrity all the time, regardless of the outcome. Telling the truth all the time, regardless of whether someone's going to get angry with you, regardless of whether someone is going to not be your friend anymore, regardless of whether it means you won't get a certain job or a certain contract. Telling the truth all the time. Being honest with the people that you interact with. This is what we're talking about today, and I know it's painful, and I know many of you probably deal with it on a daily basis. It creates setbacks for entrepreneurs. It creates heartache in relationships. It creates conflict in the media, in politics. It creates violence and fear, and then violence on top of fear. But again, take heart. You operate with integrity. Set the standard that the people that you interact with will operate with integrity. And if they don't, shake the dust off your feet and keep it moving, because that is living sugar-free. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is Andrea Raquel, the social entrepreneur and sugar-free coach. We've been talking about integrity today and how you deal with people who lack integrity, how you control your environment, because we know we can't control people. I hope that you share this. Someone that you know needs to hear it. Again, you can like my page on Facebook, facebook.com/sugarfreecoach. I'm on Twitter at sugarfreecoach. And I look forward to speaking with you again really soon. If there is a topic that you would like to hear me talk about, please shoot me a note and let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback and your commentary, questions as well. And you have a wonderful day. Enjoy your weekend. And remember, you can listen to all of the archive shows at any time. All you got to do is visit the Spreaker link, Facebook, Twitter. You can find me all around the net, and you can listen at any time of the day. Stay tuned for the next episode of Andrea in the Morning. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in to Andrea in the Morning. This is Andrea Raquel, the social entrepreneur and sugar-free coach. Thank you for joining me. Thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in and following. I hope you've liked our page on Facebook. That's facebook.com/sugar-free-coach, as well as on Twitter. You can catch me on Twitter at sugar-free-coach. I will follow back and reciprocate. I always do.